Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Today we are talking about They Fear Us, brand new sophomore album from English metalcore crew Ithaca. And Ithaca's timing could not possibly be better, because if there's anything I need right now, more so than anything else on this goddamn earth, it's a break from the incessant, unrelenting stupidity and hatred and hostility of Pantera fanboys and homophobes who are absolutely triggered beyond belief by recent uploads of mine. Like, my fucking lord, this is just what I need. A distraction, a palate cleanser. Thank you for that alone, Ithaca. Thank you. I first came to know Ithaca back in 2019 when they released their debut album, The Language of Injury, which I thought was fine. I liked it alright. It was maybe a little bit overhyped by hardcore and metalcore fanatics, but overall it was a solid record. It was smart, it was well written, it was well produced. It was definitely, at the very least, I would say one of the more memorable metalcore or hardcore records from 2019, and for that reason alone I've been keeping a close eye on this band over the past couple of years, paying attention to everything they've been doing, and as such have also been pretty pumped for They Fear Us, which honestly I feel comfortable just saying right off the bat is the best metalcore record I've heard in 2022. This is a massive improvement on The Language of Injury. It's bigger, it's bolder, it's more progressive. The band is playing around with a lot of different ideas and flavors and influences. They're more confident, they're more comfortable, they're more emotive and expressive on this record as well, taking more risks. In an interview with The Guardian, lead singer Jamelia Azzouz went as far as to say, "This record shows such a level of creativity and finesse that a lot of people who make the kind of music that we make are just not on our level." Which is, you know, maybe a little arrogant, a little cocky, dare I say, but, you know, I kind of don't disagree with her, because, like, man, 2022's been really boring for metalcore. Like, the most interesting and unique and memorable thing I've heard out of metalcore this year, other than Ithaca, is probably that fucking Motionless in White record, which was an overproduced pile of Hot Topic cringe and nonsense. So yeah, maybe she is arrogant, but like, fuck it, she's not wrong, and the proof is in the pudding. And They Fear Us is a delicious little pudding cup. Smooth, rich like chocolate, delicious. Opening track In the Way appropriately kicks things off with a slew of brooding riffs and churning grooves launching head first into a big, bright, sparkling chorus. The transition from the verse to the chorus, from the muscular metalcore riffery to the more dreamy and atmospheric cleans, is extremely satisfying, alluring, hypnotizing to an extent. It just immediately grabs my attention. I love that through the rest of the track, it's constantly playing off of similar contrasts, introducing some more aggressive elements. Like, at a certain point you get these metallic hardcore guitar screeches and these genty riffs, and then you get some more clean vocals and some more lavish kind of guitar noodling. It's incredibly well done. I find myself being practically super glued to this track from start to finish. Following track, The Future Says Thank You, builds off of this momentum with some post-hardcore riffs and flurries, and some glass-shattering screamed vocals, and some more big, chunky guitar riffs. It's loud and nasty and aggressive, but also quite nuanced and intelligent. It might honestly be one of my favorite tracks on the record. Followed closely, mind you, by They Fear Us and You Should Have Stayed. The former of which sports some absolutely deadly and sinister riffery that weirdly feels reminiscent of Lamb of God. Like, it's just so bouncy and groovy and brutal. It's got that same kind of reek and stench and vibe that I get from, like, Ashes of the Wake or As the Palaces Burn. But it also has some really big kind of atmospheric, almost post-metal shoegaze melodies that feel pulled from the realms of Deftones, which just makes this overall kind of a maelstrom of emotions and like contrasting riffs and energies. Meanwhile, the latter track starts off as an explosive and spirited prog metal instrumental with some really flamboyant and emotive guitar licks before then transitioning into an incredibly brutal kind of progressive metalcore rager, with easily the prettiest and the most cathartic climax on the record, might I add, as blaring horns and angelic moaning vocals are layered on top of shimmering post-rock and post-hardcore style arrangements and this kind of non-stop percussive battering. It almost feels like something that Svalbard might have made if they leaned heavier into their kind of post-hardcore and post-metal influences. The album's official closing track, Hold Be Held, as well brings a sweet and tender end to everything. It's a more soft-spoken and delicate number with the kind of vocal patterns and arrangements I would expect from this point of Rollo Tomasi. And on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, right in the middle of the record, you have Cremation Party, which goes straight for the fucking jugular, man. I mean, it just flings all kinds of guitar licks and solos at you, all kinds of crunchy riffs and grooves and breakdowns and more glass-shattering screamed hardcore vocals and percussive beatdowns. It's just an absolutely brutal fucking cut. Sonically, it's the heaviest thing that Ithaca have ever given us. The whole band sounds fucking incredible. Everyone is super focused and on point. There's not a single weird or sloppy performance or moment to speak of. Guitar, bass, percussion, keyboards, vocals, all fucking fantastic. I like a lot of the lyrics on here. Sometimes it's a little edgy, but whatever. For the most part, it's honest, it's passionate. I can live with that. I can work with that. The record overall is also very tight. There's no fat, no filler to speak of whatsoever. It wraps up in a remarkably concise kind of 35-minute package, which is super impressive considering how much has been cram-packed into this. It definitely feels bigger than it actually is, without being, like, overwhelming, mind you. It's just a fucking great record, man. Strong 4 out of 5 for me. Ithaca successfully expanded on everything that was really good about the language of injury, and tweaked up the little bits and pieces that maybe weren't so good, and added new influences, new ideas, new spices, new flavors, and have mixed it all together into a rich, potent, creamy, beautiful broth of progressive metalcore madness, emotionally charged and poignant and brutal. As far as I'm concerned, this is the best metalcore album of 2022 so far. Like, there's nothing else that I've enjoyed this much. There's nothing else I've heard that's as well made, or as passionate, or as interesting, or as varied as this. With that in mind, I highly recommend this to anyone who's hungry for some really fresh and exciting modern metalcore. I would recommend this to anyone who's pumped for Ithaca. Like, if you dug Language of Injury, I don't see at all why you wouldn't also enjoy this. 4 out of 5, it's a fucking great record. I've literally run out of shit to say. It's just fucking great. Check it out when it comes out tomorrow. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be. So what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.